will listen to all of these emo bands talking about how you don't belong there and how you hate that town. And I will relate. I get it. If you don't like where you live, I get it. When I was little, I used to live with my grandparents. And when they passed away, I had no option but to move to a city that I absolutely hated. And I had to live in that city for like 10 years. If you are living somewhere where you don't like to be, trust me, I truly get it. But what you might also not realize is that it might be your choice to still be there. But before you get mad that I said that, let's just break into it. I'm originally from Catanduva, in the countryside of São Paulo, in Brazil. It's a very small town. And I've always loved living there, never had any issues whatsoever about living there. But when I grew up a little more, I was kind of forced, because I really didn't have anywhere else to go, to live in Sao Paulo, which is a big, big city. And since I was 10 years old living there, I absolutely hated living there. And I really didn't take my time to access exactly why that was, but I truly, truly did not like living there at all. So when I moved to Sao Paulo, there was this activity we had to do where we had to write our journals, and it was kind of a secret. And I would just write about how much I hated it, to the point where when I lived with my aunt, she ended up reading my journal, and then she said that, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I read your journal. Like, what, are you unhappy here?" And I had the option of like going back and living with my other aunt. But I was super scared to tell my aunt that I didn't like it there, because she literally took care of me. Like, she took me under her wing with no obligation to do so, and she was giving me everything for me to live, and she put me in a very nice school. And even though I didn't like it, I felt like, even like I was only 10, but I already felt that I would be ungrateful if I said that I wanted to leave. But like years later, I still really, really did not like to live there. So I decided that I wanted to move out as soon as I could. So like as soon as I graduated school, I was gonna be going somewhere else. I feel like I still have hair dye in my arm because I just dyed my hair. So please ignore that. But anyway, so I decided to stay so I wouldn't make my aunt upset, because she was doing everything in the world for me. But a few years later, I did go to therapy and said, I freaking hate this city. I don't know what to do. And then the therapist simply said, why don't you just move out? I was furious at her, because at the time I was like 16, 17 years old. And I was like, how am I going to move out? I don't have money. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm a teenager. I can't even live by myself. And I never even went back for another session. But then thinking back to it now, she was right. I obviously couldn't move right away, but I had no plans at the time to actually do. Like, I knew I wanted to, but I didn't really have anything planned out to actually leave that place. And I feel like what she meant wasn't exactly like, oh, why don't you just move out right now? But why don't you just have a plan? And looking back at it now, it's easy to tell. But while I was living it, it felt like I had no other option but to be there. And I feel like when we're in those kind of situations, sometimes we think we have no other option. Like, I live here, I hate living here, but this is where I have to live. I can't live anywhere else. What am I gonna do? I don't have money. I have my family I have to take care of. Like, our brains make all of those excuses to not just leave the place that we don't like. And we also keep seeing it in the eyes of like, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. But if you're there, there is a reason. If you're in that place, there is a reason. Like, why was I at that city at the time? Because I needed the financial aid coming from my aunt, because I needed to finish school. So I needed to be there at that moment. But it didn't mean that I couldn't just leave. Like, why are you there to begin with? Why are you in the situation that you're still in? I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. And you have to change your point of view. And I'm not saying that you have to change it to, oh my God, I love this place, because sometimes you just do not like it. But you have to see it as this place is serving me right now. I have a reason why I'm here right now. Think about how nice it is that you even have a place to live to begin with. And just by having access to the internet to even be watching this video is pretty great. I never really looked at the good points of living in that city. Like, there has to be a reason. It's like when you hate your job, but you don't quit because you need the money. Like, you are in your job because you are making money. So even though you hate it and you want to quit it, and hopefully you can, you at that moment need to be there. It is serving you a purpose. So maybe where you live right now is a terrible environment for you. It's something that makes you super uncomfortable. Maybe you really don't like your family relationship. But that doesn't have to be forever. Like, if the problem is money, you can leave because of money, save up money. And I feel like we really have to understand why we don't like to be in that place. Sometimes I'm honestly guilty of that, of like thinking about something and being like, I don't like it. Oh, why don't you like it? I don't know, I just don't like it. I don't know. Don't vibe with it. Like, there has to be a reason why you don't like something. You can just unlike something just because. Like, for me, the reasons that I didn't like living there were greater than the reasons why I liked living there. So for me, it made sense to move. But sometimes we can be coming from a place of ungratefulness. And then there are some ways that you can distance yourself from the things that you don't like in the city, like without having to move somewhere else completely different. But if you're like me and you understand that you have to leave where you are, try to understand that you can. And if you're a person that's kind of like me, a 17-year-old in their therapist's office that just told them to just move, and be like, what do you mean just move? You actually can. Maybe not at that very second, but you can make anything that you want become true. I had an extreme case of moving because I moved entire different countries, but not necessarily you have to do that. But like, if you want to, you can. Literally everything is possible. And sometimes we're afraid of change also. Sometimes we know we want to change. We are so sick of our situation at the moment, but we keep making so many excuses to just not change something because, oh, it's too hard. Like, the harder you think something is to change, the harder you think something is to get out of, the harder you will get. I actually said that in one other video that we talked a little more about confidence, that is thinking like, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I'm getting there. And honestly, just a quick break for financial advice. Always, no matter what in your life, no matter what you feel, always have a little bit of money saved, because sometimes we get stuck in situations just because of money, and that is absolutely insane because we put ourselves in places where we can get out of, but we put in our heads that we don't have the money for it. So really truly believe that anything can happen, everything can change, and everything in life is temporary. When I lived in Sao Paulo, I needed to finish school. And that was actually when I started getting better about my mental health and everything. Like, I made a lot of peace with the place that I lived. I made a lot of peace with a lot of things that really bothered me. And I still don't want to live there. I'm still much happier away from there. But being there and changing the way I thought about the city changed it completely. Like, I tried really hard because I really didn't like it. And people who like living in Sao Paulo, like, it's not personal at all. And it's good that not everybody likes the same things. Otherwise, imagine how the world would be. Like, everybody would be wanting to live in the same place, and then everywhere else would be empty, and then it would be a whole mess. So it's everybody has their own likes and dislikes. But while there, I tried to appreciate the little things that I did like some friends that I had, my family being there. I was very grateful about having my aunt there and having a place to sleep, and a place to be at while I was saving a little money so I could go away, and having her support. Sometimes our family is the problem, and that sucks. I'm very sorry if you're going through that, honestly. But if our family sucks, maybe we can have like a place that we like to go and just like sit down and breathe and look at trees, like any little thing, and know that everything is temporary, and know that everything can change. And sometimes we're a little afraid of change, even if the change is positive. We get all of those what ifs in our heads, but we never really think of what ifs in the positive way. Like, oh my god, what if I move and I actually hate the new place more than the other one? Or what if I move somewhere really expensive and then I can afford it and then I have to go back? Or what if I actually love living here and I never really notice it and now I'm gonna be missing it after I trashed it? Like, we never really think, like, what if I move and my life is finally perfect exactly how I want it to be? You can think of the good what ifs. There are not only bad what ifs. And like, you don't have to accept your situation. You don't have to just accept the place that you're at if you hate it, if you don't like being there. But you can absolutely appreciate it. Whenever I said I hated that city, my aunt always told me that thanks to that city, she has the job she has the money and the life she built. So if it wasn't for that city, she wouldn't be where she is today. And I am very proud, and she's very proud of where she is. And I'm very excited to have finally been able to leave, but I am also very grateful that I had that place when I needed a place to be. And whenever we look at things with a negative eye, things look back at us with negative eyes as well. At the moment that I started smiling a little more about the city and trying to find cool places, things that I liked about it instead of just trashing it, things started getting lighter, it started getting easier. So for now, if you feel like really you can't leave, try to think of the positive reasons why you're there. Try to think of why you are there. Because if you are there, there is a reason. And if there is no reason, just leave. Easier said than done, but most things are. And most things are harder in our heads than it is in real life. I really hope that you can find that place that you really like, and I really hope that you can find the strength to go and do things, because sometimes, like I was talking about fear of change before, sometimes we're so afraid of change that we don't see that staying in the same place can be scarier than actually changing. And you make your story, you make your home, you make your happiness. It's all in your hands, and I know it's scary to be responsible for everything, but at the same time, it's amazing and liberating that it's all in our own hands. Like, we can do whatever we want. Trust me, I get it. I get it. It sucks to be stuck somewhere that you feel like you can't get out, but eventually you will. And then you'll look back and you'll be like, I'm free. Okay, bye.
Please like, comment, and share Ligia's videos so we can eat and have a house. Thank you.